Okay, so he says, I've come to confirm the Torah which came before me, and to make lawful for you some of the things that you were forbidden. Right? So he hasn't come simply to reiterate the Torah as is, but rather he's here to confirm most of it, with some exception. There's some things that he's going to make easier for the Jews, right, when they had been hard originally. And so one thing that we find is that the law of the Jews must have been extremely difficult. The Quran indicates why this was the case. It was because of them. And it was their own fault that Allah made things difficult for them. I'm going to share a couple of verses with you that show why it was that the law of the Jews was extremely difficult for them. One is in Surah An-Nisa, verses 160 and 161. فَبِظُلْمٍ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا حَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ طَيِّبَاتٍ أُحِلَّتْ لَهُمْ. And because of their own transgression, because of their own sin, like the Jews, he's talking about الَّذِينَ هَادُوا, the Jews, because of the sin of the Jews, we made haram for them some of the good things that we had actually intended to make halal for them. Like طيبات are good things, good food and this sort of thing. Right, so there are things that they're supposed to be halal. We created them as a blessing for them, but because they themselves were so bad, they were dhalim, they were unjust and unrighteous, we made these things haram for them. وَبِصَدِّهِمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَثِيرًا. And because they used to be the cause of other people's deviation, they would twist around words, twist around teachings, cover up things and things like this, hide the truth in order for, usually for ulterior motives. Right? So sometimes you have, there's a law, for instance. If I'm the one who knows the law and none of you knows the law, you're all coming to me. I say, I benefit more from the law. I say, if I'm going to benefit more from it, then I'm going to have more of an ulterior motive, a conflict of interest to express that particular law. Right? If I'm the only one who has access to the law, then it's pretty easy for me to add stuff to the law, to change it for my own benefit, and say, it's not really khums. You guys thought it was khums? No, it's actually thulth. Right? It's supposed to be a third of your income, not a fifth of your income. And if you're illiterate, if you don't know the law, and I'm the only expert, then it's very easy for me to say that, and you just have to go along with it. Because if you don't, God will be angry with you and so forth. That's what I'm telling you. Right? So that's the kind of interaction that the Jewish leaders had. And because of that, Allah made it harder and harder for them, increased the duties that they had. وَأَخْذِهِمُ الرِّبَى. They used to take interest. Even at the time of Jesus, in the Bible, it talks about his battle with the usury that was taking place in the temple itself. The temple was basically a place for the priests, the Pharisees especially, to engage in usury and make lots and lots of money off of lending to people. And kind of throughout history, Jews have been famous for being the usurish. Even though it's a haram thing for them, they ignore the law and they practice it, and they get rich off of people's money, contrary to their own law. They did all this وَقَدْ نُهُوا عَنْهُ. Despite the fact that they had been prohibited all these things, they still did it. And finally he says وَأَكْلِهِمْ أَمْوَالَ النَّاسِ بِالْبَاطِلِ. And they used to kind of use other people's money. Right? They would confiscate people's money, kind of not honor property rights and the limits of property and these sorts of things. Right? Take things from people unrightfully. And because of this, again, Allah says the punishment was to make their law harder for them. Okay, so that's one of the reasons, several reasons actually, why the law for the Jews was made harder than it should have been. There's another example of Allah making things harder for the Jews. You might know this story. It's from Surah Al-Baqarah. And do you know the actual story of the Baqarah? Why it's called Baqarah? And the surah is called the cow. And the reason it's called the cow is because of this particular cow, the story of the cow that takes place in the surah. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah. It's between verses 67 and 71. But what happens is, some of the Bani Israel, they'll go out and they kill a person, a man. Right? So they go and kill this man, and then they cover it up and make it seem like somebody else did it, or an accident or something like that. So they don't know who's killed this guy. They go out and they are told that the way to figure it out is to go and sacrifice a cow. Right? Go sacrifice a cow, and then take I think it's the tail, take a piece of the cow, and go and hit the body of this dead man, and he'll come back to life, and he'll tell you who killed him. And that's the command that's given to the Bani Israel. So then, instead of just doing it and saying, okay, if that's the way, let's go kill the cow and be done with it, they say the following. قَالُوا ادْعُ لَنَا رَبَّكَ يُبَيِّنْ لَنَا مَا هِي. Go and ask, to tell Moses, and go and ask your Lord exactly what kind of cow does he want. قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة لا فارض ولا بكر عوان بين ذلك فافعلوا ما تؤمرون. So then once they ask, they don't want to do it. They're asking questions because they're trying to find a way out. And sometimes people they'll ask the alim, like, is jealousy really haram? Is this really haram? Is that really haram? And what they want, or is music really haram? And what they want is not to know what the law is so they can act on the law better. They want this one alim to finally say, yes, it's fine, go ahead and do it. And then they'll be like, okay, good, I'm safe now. And sometimes our intention is that's an evil intention. That's the intention that these Jews had. They weren't asking questions to learn and to become better people. They were asking to find a loophole, to find some way to get around it and to make their lives easier and almost like play a trick on Allah. Right? So make sure we don't have that intention when we're asking questions. Imam Ali says, "Sal tafaqquhan wala tasal ta'annutan." When you ask a question, ask in order to increase your understanding. Don't ask for evil intentions, either to bother a person or to test a person. And don't ask the alim or don't ask your teacher a question just to see if does he really know his stuff or not. Right? Ask because you want to know and you want to understand better. Make that your intention when you ask. Okay, so the Bani Israel, they say, what kind of cow is it? The first restriction that comes is that it has to be a middle-aged cow. Not too old, not too young. Right? So when they could have killed any cow, the oldest cow, the one that was just about to die, they could have killed that and Allah would have been happy. Now that they've asked stubbornly, He says, okay, no old cow, no young cow, it has to be one right in the middle, like a middle-aged, very healthy, strong cow. Then they say, oh, well, we still don't understand. What color should the cow be? And there's all these different colors, different variety. What exactly does Allah want? قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة صفراء فاقع لونها تسر الناظرين. Right, so now, not any cow will suffice. They could have had a splotched cow, like a grangy cow that didn't even have hair to begin with. But now that they've asked stubbornly, Allah says, okay, now it has to be a sparkling yellow cow. The perfect color that it makes the farmer who owns that cow happy to see this cow. It's so beautiful. It's a prize-winning cow. That's the kind of cow I want. Still they're not happy. قَالُوا ادْعُ لَنَا رَبَّكَ يُبَيِّنْ لَنَا مَا هِي إِنَّ الْبَقَرَ تَشَابَهَ عَلَيْنَا وَإِنَّا إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَمُهْتَدُونَ. And they say, no, we need more detail. We still don't know. The cows all look the same to us. تَشَابَهَ عَلَيْنَا. Like, they're all yellow. They all look the same to us. Right? But we want to be guided. We want to know exactly what Allah wants from us. So go and ask Him again. قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة لا ذلول تثير الأرض ولا تسقي الحرث مسلمة لا شية فيها. So then he comes back with the command. He says it has to be a cow that's never been used to till the soil. Right? It should be it's a pristine cow, middle age. Like, can you imagine, like 3 or 4 years as a farmer to keep a cow for 3 or 4 years and never have used it to farm, not to till the earth, not to carry water, and there shouldn't be a single blemish on its fur. لا شية فيها, not even a splotch on its fur. قالوا الآن جئت بالحق. They say, okay, now we understand. Now you told us the truth. Until now you were hiding stuff, but now we understand what we're supposed to do. And hadith say that they ended up having to go and the